My name is Melissa.
I'm Kendrick.
And I'm Jason.
And we're just a few people like you. And we share not only our faith, but our eagerness to free our city here in Killeen. Stay tuned to our podcast. Drop it on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. As we will be providing you with local updates, perspective, and so much more on how you too can free your city today. So today we have an amazing entrepreneur here locally in Killeen. She defied all odds and bossed up. She's the co-owner of Lux Salon and Spa Suites, and my dear friend and sister, Lala.
Let's go.
So thank you for joining us today. We are so lucky to have you here. So let's just kick this off. Tell us about yourself and what made you want to start a business.
So thank you guys for having me. But I've always known from when I was little that I wanted to own my own business. From watching my mom work so hard for someone else and barely make it, check by check, I knew that I was like, no, I didn't want to work for no one, and I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. I wanted to make my own team and help people be able to reach their own goals as far as when they want to work or their own schedule so they can be a part of their kids' lives and things like that. So.
That's cool. Well, today we're talking about youth. So we're going to discuss defying odds and creating wealth. So I'm going to kick it off with this, Lala. So share with us a little bit of your upbringing and summarize what you had to go through to get where you at today. Deep, first question. Off the rip. You know what I'm saying?
So originally, I am from Europe. I have family in Spain and Germany, and my mom, she came over here with my dad, and they split, but my mom made her own way, so she joined the military, and we moved around, and then we moved to a great place, and I thought we was gonna move again, and we ain't never left. So I've been here for quite some time. So my childhood upbringing is interesting. So I have 3 siblings. And I have actually more than that. But in the meantime of me being here and my mom being in the military, I saw a lot. From her, working another job plus being in the military, it's like I kind of took over and was, the mom. And she can attest to that,
She was cooking. We were in 6th, 7th grade, and this girl was like cooking. And I'm like, what? And she would be a mom to both, her siblings.
So I learned I had to grow up a little early. I had to make sure I had to be there for my brother and sister, and I wanted to set an example. Was it always easy? No. But going past that, again, I have a lot of respect for my mother, and I think that's why I work so hard for everything I have. But, it wasn't all rainbows and, sunshine. A lot of the stuff we went through, from evictions in our house and having to move around. And I went to literally every school here for high school and had to stay with people, because of certain situations and being in a household where, drugs and mental and physical abuse was happening to my family. It takes a toll, but it just made me stronger. And God had pulled me out from that. And I knew from that day, it was like, if I make it, I'm pulling everybody out. And that's what I did. So that's just a little bit about my background.
No, that is really, really good. No, but if you know Lakeisha, like, she's just like really driven and focused. And when I think of a boss, I think of Lakeisha because she is with it. She is with it. I only surround myself with powerful women, and Lakeisha is one of them. So, ultimately, we're talking to the youth today. So how important is it to have good leadership skills as a business owner, and how was that developed as you were growing up?
Woo! It's very important. If you want to have a house or a business, you have to show some kind of leadership, because then you won't have people following you or flock to you to want to either work for you or to help you grow. And when I was growing up, I had, seen my mom, and I had seen a lot of other like companies that she worked for. And I was just like, I could already see myself doing that, putting a team together and building myself up to be able to not only run it, but make sure my team is taken care of, or seeing what I can better myself to be able to provide for my team. Because I feel like if I'm not showing an example or bettering myself, then I can't lead my team. But that started real young from when I was young. And I will say I'm blessed that I had that upcoming to be able to have the mentality that I have now from that.
Yeah, I remember she would be like doing accounting at the table, and I'm like, girl, I came here to have fun at your house, and you're here doing accounting. And like, yes. So she had exposure since like we were kids.
I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah, my mom was a bartender at night, and she was in the military at the same time. That's why I used to live off of Shawn Drive. And she was like, you want to make some money? And I was like, okay, I can make some money. So I was like, all right. So she gave me these books, and she broke it down. She's like, these are the receipts, and you write this, and then you break down all the numbers, and then you tell me what's left. I forgot that. It's crazy how God worked. That's all I can say. Because I didn't even notice that I was doing that at that young age. But it doesn't make sense because I do that now in my business. I'm like, okay, rent, okay, water, advertising. How much is this going to cost? Break it down. What do we have left? Like, it's so important to that I had that lesson then to move that into my business now and my other businesses that are here to come. That's dope. Dang, Melissa, you brought a flashback.
I did. I can bring up some more, but I'm not going to go into the fact that this girl also shaved my eyebrow off. But we ain't going to go there right now. No.
Look, man, she was like, yeah, you could try it on me. Okay, we're in 7th grade, okay? So I'm like, I haven't went to cosmetology school or esthetician school. So I'm like, come on, let me try. She's like, okay. And did it. And that whole eyebrow was gone. She was like, what happened? Oh my God! I was like, we gonna fill it in. We just put some hair over it. We're good. But I mean, but I could slay him now, so it's no problem. But
You just was the first one. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to my homie Esteban. I shaved his head in 7th grade. I put a bald spot in that boy here. My fault, bro. All right.
No, but it's good to have the exposure to these things and aligning yourself, because like she, knowing her, she always aligned herself with what she wanted. And so like Lakeisha would be the one that would have a whole bunch of people at her house getting, their hair braided, their hair done, not the eyebrows done, but everything along that. So she aligned herself. So I think it's important to direct that to the youth and let them know that you have to align yourself with what you want and stay to course and stay passionate about what you want out of life, because know that regardless of your circumstances, like you can make your own way. And you just have to think about what you're going to align yourself with. I know there's lots of distractions, lots of, adversity, but you have to overcome, because that overcoming is a testimony in itself. And you will be on that other side. And once you are on the other side, don't forget to bring people along with you. And it's a good point that you touched on.
Yeah, so you was talking about doing accounting with receipts back in the day, right? So I want to go to, as far as finances go, if you have any advice, like financial advice for your younger self, what would you say to a 14, 15-year-old Lala?
It's a lot that I would probably tell myself about money. When you're not used to having money and then you get some, it's not in our community. We don't really have a good money management, credit, or anything like that, breakdown in our household. So, I would tell myself to save my money, and not to worry about what people think or want you to look like. Back then, I really, was heavy on that. Like, I got to go buy these shoes because everybody, got these. So I'm spending, $160 or $200 on shoes that I'm only going to wear maybe once or twice, And back then, I was cutting grass and everything to make money. So I'm like, if I would have saved all that money, I could own a lot of land here. I could own a lot of business here. And, when we're young, we don't really think about that. We think in the now, and we think of what we want to portray ourselves to look like. and now I'm in the era where I don't really care what you think I look like. If I know I have money, I don't need you to know I have it. Right. And I would just tell myself to save. And even back then, even when I did have the money, I helped my mom with my money. So I would not take that away from what I did, but to put something away to build something for us early. Yeah. So save your money, save your money, save your money, save your money.
What would be some like, because just based off of your testimony and the way you did things even early on as a child, we talked about what you would tell yourself, but what about some characteristics as far as like who you are? What would you tell youth today, like, who have a job, let's say they're working at McDonald's or Burger King? What would you tell them to encourage them as far as like how to be better as a person at the workplace in order to move up?
So I don't never look down on nobody who works at McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, whatever. Everybody has a point that they start at, and I would tell them that, work to be the owner of the McDonald's, work to be the franchisees, you know what I'm saying? Because you might start off I don't know how McDonald's works. You start off the fries and then go to the burgers. I don't know. But, you have to work up on the levels where you're at. So just don't be like, I'm just going to be the fry person, When I look at something, I look at like, I'm going to own this, or I'm going to be somebody's boss, maybe just because I don't like the way they're treating the staff, or because I want that generational wealth, So I would tell them to keep striving for what they're trying to do. And at that same point, if you know that McDonald's is not your end road, then, don't focus so much on moving up. Focus on moving forward in another position or school or something. Sometimes we have to be on our journey on a stop or a road or maybe a small house, and we have to live there for a little bit and move forward. If that's not what you're wanting to be at, then you got to surround yourself with the people that are, higher than you so you can get out, or really just find out what you're wanting to do. Because I know a lot of people who started off at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and things like that. And, in that time, they use that as a stepping stone. They went to school, and certain companies you work for pay for your school or pay you back for your tuition. A lot of people don't know that. But I would just say that I would tell them to strive for in either owning something like in that franchise, moving up, or focusing on bettering yourself within that company. That's what I would say.
That's good. That is really good. And, I think you touched on a really good point there, that everyone has to start somewhere. Yeah. And you have to develop. So I think oftentimes, and it's so easy in our community, especially if you come from a diverse home or suffer from economic struggles, whatever the case may be, that you get into this mentality of, I'm not going to be there for long. I can't tell you how many youth I speak to, and they're like, I'm not going to be there that long. Yeah. So I ain't even going to show up. Let me just tell you, what you put and invest your time in is important. Because if you're investing your time, you need to be present. You need to make sure you're getting everything that you can get out of what you are doing. And so if I am going to work at 8 a.m. every day, I'm gonna put in the work because I want to get something out of it, because it's going to align me for this pathway that I ultimately want to be on. And it may not be now. Like you said, you have to be at this house for a little bit. All right, cool. I may not like this house, but it's all right, because the next house I get to, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, and to touch on that real quick, just like the fast food jobs or any like Walmart jobs or anything like that, we could take something from all of those jobs at any position I've worked, any job I've ever worked in, I take something away from it. Customer service, money management, tracking the business, advertising. I pick up something every job I had. So if you're working at McDonald's, I'm pretty sure you pick up customer service and multitasking skills. So, I mean, you move those to, your own company or, in corporate or whatever you do. So I would just tell the youth, I know you might not like where you at, but it's beneficial to be at that moment, because you'll be so grateful and have so much respect for what you went through at that job to where you get to where you're trying to go.
So to own your own business, right? Yeah. That's stuff that you would need to know to own your own business.
Dude, you know what? So like, I've got a few sources of income, and I guess I would say my only regret is with some of them is not sticking with them when I first started them, right? So, like, what advice would you give to any person, young person in particular, about that? You know, when you first started, it's tough, man, about progressing, moving forward, and not giving up on the business.
Ooh, you're gonna have that talk with yourself even when you're a business owner. Okay, like that's like, and I was like, that's for real. But oh man, stick through it and try to. It's really around who you surround yourself with can actually really be a help to you keeping that business. Because if something gets hard, especially when we're younger, if something gets hard, guess what we're gonna do? We're going to quit and we're going to leave it alone. And then when we're in the age that we're in now, shoulda, coulda, woulda, wish I would have did this. So there's no perfect answer that I can give you. I can just say that, you know, try to stick it out. But I always say everything happens for a reason. So maybe you had left what you were doing to better yourself in something greater that you have now, you know. But it's hard to say what exactly to do because I've been there. A lot of things I've started, I'll stop. And that's something that might be a trait that everybody needs to work on, you know, consistency. Because you can start something and something gets hard and you'll quit. But you have to fight through it and get through it. And at the end, the reward will be so much better. But if when we're in our young stage of age, it's the people that you're going to put yourself around that's going to help you bring you out. Because mentally, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about now.
It's your environment. It's definitely your environment that plays a huge role. And regardless what type of environment, you know, ambition is something that you create when you're faced with adversity, because it's not you're working in spite of something, you're working for something. And so, you know, a question I would have for you is, what role does a community play in bringing up the youth? I think that's a question, you know, we don't learn it in school. And so what role does the community play in that aspect of developing our youth to be entrepreneurs, to be business owners, to be, you know, doctors, lawyers, all of these things, you know, regardless of their economic or social stance?
I think the community has like a huge major part, because if it's not being tacked at home and it's not being this is not being brought up in school, where are the kids going to go? Or people, the streets, right? The streets hold a lot of value. And I learned a lot from there, you know, and I would say that it has a major role. And if I'll just put this for example, your area code can tell a lot about how you were raised. And that's sad to say. It is. But I think it has a major role, but I don't think our community has something yet. It's brewing in the works, you know. But you know, when I was younger, what was out there? Boys and Girls Club and you know, putt. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nothing nowhere I can go to enhance my learning. Other than, you know, the trainings or the academies that my mom had to come out of pocket for. We didn't have that money, you know? Yeah. So there was no place like that. And I mean, the Boys and Girls Club, I was going there, basically is babysitting. You know, we don't have nowhere to develop skills or even to learn about business or just to help us out in mentally and in generational wealth. I think the community has a major toll on that, and it says a lot about our community as we are clean. You know, it brings up a lot of good people, but I can't wait till we have something here that I'll be safe. I'll be okay enough to be like, I'm gonna go drop my kid off here, and I know that they're gonna have something when they're done, or I know that they're not just being babysat.
Yeah, it's that investment quality. Yeah, no, absolutely. So how can guardians, educators, just even people wanting to be involved, how can they better educate children on that path? Oh my God.
As far as guardians and parents, this needs to be brought to the attention of the house. There's a lot of things as far as like money management, leadership skills, and generational wealth that nobody really goes over when we're young, or even when we're 15 and things like that. You know, we just get told to do what we need to do and go about our business. But I think it needs to be implemented at the house. You know, simple thing like this: pay them to do the stuff that they already supposed to do around the house. Open them up a student account or a bank account and let them learn how the money management rolls out. Take them to a simple store like Dollar Tree. Give them $20. Do they know how many items they're gonna be able to get? Like, it starts at home. And as far as the school system goes, why don't we have a checks and balances program? Like, what happened to the economical program that we had? You know, I didn't learn until money for real until I hit like 23, 24, and I'm 28 years old. Okay, so not saying I didn't have that money in my hand then, because I did, but it flew out. You know, so I would say to teach them there. So KISD, if y'all hearing me, we need a program, you know, for some kind of generational wealth, credit, something. And back to the household, so they need to bring up credit, man, too, because I didn't know nothing about credit either. So when I got that $5,000 credit card, shout out USA, like that was gone, and I maxed it out. I didn't think I needed to pay that back. I was like, got $5,000, and I got that. Exactly. I got that letter in the mail, and they were like, you are behind on $8,000, blah, blah, blah. I said, $8,000, only spent $5,000 interest, you know. So I feel like it needs to be brought up young. And, you know, when I do have kids, that's something I'm going to bring up from a young age, you know, and nothing against my mom or my family. You know, but me and my mom grew up together. So we was learning all this stuff together. And still, as we are, you know, growing together now, I'm still learning together with my mom about, you know, generational wealth and now stocks and things like that. So I'm going to invest in my kids all the stuff I didn't know so that they'll be well taken care of, but know the worth of work and money.
I think that's important. Like, it's a misnomer that just because you start is going to be successful. Or just because you're a business owner, all this money gonna come in, but you still gotta put that work in behind that. Like, you open a business, but we don't know you here. You gotta advertise, you know. So that was good.
Man, this is really good stuff, and thank you, Lala, for being here with us and kind of just, you know, being vulnerable and sharing, you know, with everyone. I know. So I'd like to thank you for being here, and I'd like to ultimately say, as we're wrapping up, do you have any words of encouragement that you would direct to the youth?
Yes. I would say, you know, it's a cliche thing to say, but you can be whatever you want to be, and that's real talk. And like I said, I knew from a young age that I knew from a young age I wanted to do hair, but I knew from a young age I didn't want to work for nobody, and I wanted to own my own. So don't let the fear of maybe the struggle getting you there stop you from your goals. Fight toward them, and once you figure out what you're wanting to do, hit the nail on his head with that hammer and keep going until it's all the way in the wood panel. I will also say that, you know, respect your family. Everything might not be perfect at home, but there's a reason for everything. And just enjoy the times that you have and take in that. So when you do make it, you realize where you came from. When you make it, come back to where you came from and give back. I can't state that heavy enough. So don't forget where you came from. Drive to make it there, and don't give up. That would be my advice to the youth.
Pew, pew. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed us like we enjoyed doing this for you. I know. Follow us on Facebook, Free My City, or Instagram at free_my_city, as we'll be dropping videos on YouTube to make sure you tune in and give us a like and share and subscribe. I'd like to leave you all with this, though. Get out there, register to vote, and be the change you want to see on the streets. And above all, free your mind so you can go out and free your city. Be blessed, community.